Our next tile question here is one that, again, it's relates to every owner out there. And many of you may have already known about this, but some, quite a few don't know about this. And that is, how do I know when I can negotiate? Negotiation is a key part of running a company. There's chances almost every day to negotiate something. And depending on the situation, how do I know when I can negotiate? And if I know I can do it, how do I go about doing it? But just first of all, recognizing the opportunity of when you can go negotiate something.
See, we had a client years ago who had a company that was in trouble, and she was our coaching client, and she was absolutely astonished at how you could negotiate with everybody. Now, what do I mean by in trouble? The company was losing profits, so their cash flow was negative. They owed a lot of people money. Many of these people were starting to get threatening. We're going to bring my lawyer in this, or you can't do this, and getting more vocal, etc. And she was pretty much overwhelmed and at wit's end. How in the world am I going to get out of this hole? And we said, hey, let's negotiate with all these folks. And we've done it. We can say it that way because we've done it many, many, many times, and I've done it personally with some troubled companies that I've been involved with personally. And everything is negotiable. And when you adopt this attitude and you start to negotiate the balances that you owe, you're going to find that you can literally have debt reduced and terms reduced and inventory and getting assets to run your business, brought to bear. You can do these things if you're prepared, and you have to be prepared. You can't be a negative old stick in the mud kind of thing in which you're grumpy and demanding and hanging up on people and arguing. You have to have a plan. And that plan, if you owe me money and I need to get that money from you, which of course I do, I'm open to negotiations. But if you're ranting and raving and say it's unfair and going backwards and trying to nix the deal for whatever reason versus talk to me about a plan, I'm open to it. And why wouldn't that be true for even the most belligerent kind of customers on the other end, or whoever's owed money or owed something by you? Anything can be negotiated. I dare you to give me any situation where there's money or value involved that can't be and isn't negotiated somewhere or another.
That's right. So it's a very simple answer to the question, then, right? How do I know when I can negotiate? The answer is you can always negotiate.
Always.
But that's, again, just stop there. I mean, to your point, Jack, I recall having that discussion with her. And the look we got back was, again, it was that proverbial deer in headlights look. Like, what do you mean? I can go negotiate with the IRS?
I can negotiate with my accountant. I can negotiate with these vendors. You
With
mean
my
I can do
landlord?
that?
With they are going to kick me out? Okay, yeah, everybody that she owed money to, right? We
That's
said
correct.
absolutely can. Now, the way to your point, Jack, the way you approach the different people might be a little bit different, and how much you can push and how much leverage you've got. That's always part of the key. Is kind of knowing when what leverage you have, and a big part of that is being able to put yourself in the other person's shoes. So, and I think many owners can relate to that. You're given situations here, Jack, where you owe somebody money. So I think most owners have been in that on the side of the table where they're owed money. So picture if somebody's coming to you who owes you money. Now, if you have somebody who's ducking and dodging and hanging up the phone on you, okay, you're going to take one approach to that. If somebody's very responsive to you, takes your phone calls, is reasonable, is making promises that they're keeping. There's ways to approach things, but putting yourself in that person's shoes as well is a good stance to be able to take, to be able to be
That's
just
good. That's a good point, Adam. You have to. If you owe the money, then you have to be reasonable. And the objective first is to get the person you owe money to at the table so you can start negotiating. If that can't happen, nothing's going to happen. But don't be afraid. Most people are afraid because they're afraid to start negotiating or ask to negotiate because they aren't prepared. So if you owe somebody money, you have to have some document in front of you that summarizes your financial position and what you're able to do. And if you, in a nice, rational, calm voice, calm the person down who you owe money, because that person wants to be paid. I mean, it's it's not an unreasonable position, is it? Of course it isn't. So, you are prepared. You know you owe this person money, and you know because you've done your homework how much you can afford to pay that person. And inevitably, once you start this plan working, there's going to be problems. So if you duck, every time you duck and don't answer and don't keep that person informed, you multiply your chances of an unsuccessful settlement here. Versus, hey Adam, I know I just told you 2 months ago that I could pay you $1,000 a month, but this and this happened. I'm sorry, I feel bad about it, but I'm going to have to miss next month, or I can only give you 500. What's Adam going to do? Going to start screaming and calling me an SOB? We've known a few Adams who do that. And what we do then is hang up, because chances are things aren't going to get too good from there. But chances are, Adam, he won't like it, but he'll agree. Why not?
Otherwise, I get paid zero. At least if I got you paying something, you're paying something. There's a certain mindset to that, right? If you're used to paying something versus paying nothing.
That's right.
Or getting to the bottom of the pile. Because chances are, if you owe me money, you probably owe money to
other
people too.
That's right. So I don't want to be there. Adam, what's Adam's recourse? He's going to sue me. Well, in most counties, the lawsuit process is going to take a year or so, at least, many times longer than that, to get to any legal status. And even then, it basically takes a while to get it settled and collected, and it could be years. Now, why in the world, if I'm owed money, would I want to go that route? And I got to skim money off the top to pay the help that I need to